And what he's telling us there is very rudimentary physical advice. And that is that these times are going to be very difficult, and they're going to be difficult for children. That's all this means. And he says, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, such as was not from the beginning of the creation which God created unto this time, neither shall be. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. When Paul said that he says, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in, people say, well, when do you think that's going to happen? I think that it's happening now. I think that the door is closing, and it slams shut on this day. It's very important that we understand that, because some of your loved ones that don't understand what you're talking about and have no appreciation for the heritage of the Lord Yehovah or His people, they don't understand because that door is closing. It's really time to do the right thing, the right way, get it done right away, because the time is coming. The door is going to get closed. One of these days it will close. You know, it'd be easy for all of this to discourage you. Anybody feel like partying? No. Because these things are very difficult to hear and to understand. And they involved our loved ones and the people that we care about. And sometimes we wonder, why don't they get it? You know what your responsibility is? Your responsibility is to make sure that you're not the reason they don't get it. My wife doesn't understand me. Well, it's because you're not taking good care of her, likely. It's because you've not been the way you ought to be. Well, how do you know that? I'll tell you what. That's the only thing that you have control over. That's the only thing you can... What are you going to do? Change her? You can change you. How about trying that? My kids won't listen to me. Well, it's because they've listened to you before and didn't work out so well. Maybe it's time to repent. Maybe it's time to say, hey, you know, I want you to know, I just figured out I've been a jerk for a long time, and I've been a bad dad. Sorry about that. Now let me tell you about... No. Just apologize and walk away. Quit making them think that every time you open your mouth you've got an ulterior motive. Quit trying to force people to do the right thing. How about you just living in Messiah the way you need to live in Messiah? How about working on the one that you have control over? You. How about making you better today than you were yesterday? And let those other things happen as they will, happen as they must. Let Him do those kind of things. The only thing you have to make sure of is that nobody is thrown to the flames because of you. Wow, I thought I was going to bring this crowd up a little. The other great thing to know is that we serve a wonderful, merciful, all-encompassing God who has tricks up His sleeve. He can make things happen. Talking to someone last night, they said, you know, I've prayed for God to change me, and He just doesn't change me. I prayed that He would take out of me anything that shouldn't be there and put in there whatever needs to be in there, and nothing's happening. Why is that? And I said, because people don't get better because they win the lottery. People don't get better because they have everything they want. People don't become better because they're more comfortable today than they were yesterday. We learn when our backsides are burning. It's been true since we were this high. We learn, we get better because we are uncomfortable. Hey, when I do this, this hurts. That's the way a baby thinks. When I say this, this hurts. I'm going to stop doing that. Do you know, unfortunately, we don't get any better when we get to be 50 or 60 or 70 years old? This person says now, well, okay, what's your point? The point is it's a mercy on God's part that He's not changing your life, because He knows what it's going to take to change your life, and He knows you're not ready to deal with that. That disaster is going to be so huge. It's going to be so bad. You might just turn your back on Him and walk away from your faith. And He'd rather keep you right where you are, because He can't go any further with you. Well, this person looked at me and said, I know that what you're saying is true. I couldn't put it into words, but I know that that was exactly what's going on. Listen, are you big enough? Are you good enough? Are you strong enough to put up with the tribulation that needs to be in your life to make you the husband you ought to be? Do you really need to watch your wife laying in a bed dying before you learn how to love her? Do you really need to have tragedy destroy your life before you get a hold of hearing the voice of God and letting Him teach you and train you? Do you really need your house to burn down? Do you really need your back to be broken? Do you really need to go there? We have to open ourselves to this and for this, or we're never going to see the people emerge from us that He has in mind for us to be. And when you are that person, you will walk into and stand in and walk through the tribulation fire, and it will not kindle upon you. And if you do this thing right, and you really do make this your hobby, you really do try to make this a part of your life, when the fire washes over you and you find yourself standing, you may just turn around and see the loved ones that you have been caring for standing there with you. It's going to be a sad day when you turn around and they're easy to count because they're not there. Listen, hell is going to be full of children of mothers and children of fathers. That's where those people came from. And you have to, you're going to have to, this is going to have to become very serious for you. You're going to have to understand that this is real. This is happening. This is Monday morning theology. This is not just something we do for a week and then go off and do our thing like we've always done. It has to become very, very important to you for this to work. And one of the best exercises you can learn is taking time every day to hear the voice of God in your life. Make the change. If He says, don't wear a shirt with a pocket on the left anymore, then you tear the thing off and you sew it on the right. If He tells you to wear your shoes backwards, do as He says to do. Do the little things, learn and listen and sharpen your conscience and sharpen that voice. Because there's coming a time when you're going to depend on every word that He says. You and your loved ones. God's going to save us in spite of every effort that we try to keep Him from doing so. I really believe that. When I started studying grace, I remember days and days and days of pouring through the Scriptures and finding grace. And Pam would walk in the room and I'd just be wet with tears. And she'd say, "What's wrong?" I said, "Pam, I think He's really going to save us. I really think He's going to save us. I think some of us are actually going to walk into the kingdom and we're going to see His face."